So welcome to ProfileTree TV, and today we're joined by Conor McCarthy, who is a very exciting app called Flipdish. So you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about your background and a little bit about your app as well, your business?
Sure, yeah, glad to.
Brilliant.
So I'll start from the beginning, because I think there's a couple of events that happened throughout my life which might have affected how things became entrepreneurial. So the very first memory I have of anything that was in any way entrepreneurial related was when I was maybe 6 years old in school. I have a recollection of the children of the year ahead of us having this little business where they shine your shoes, and then they would have you sign your name to a piece of paper and then write down how much the cost was, and then they shine your shoes, and the next day you give them the couple of pence, whatever it was. And I'd never done that, but then one guy was like, really, no, yeah, let's do it. So after much convincing, he made me write my name, and I wrote down like 2p, and he shined my shoes. And then the next day, he came in asking for the money, and I gave him 2p, and he said, no, it's 20p. And I was like, no, it's 2p. And then he showed me the piece of paper, and he had put a 0 after the 2. And I was like, no, it's definitely 2p. And then he like went to a prefect or something. He said, look, it says 20, don't pay me. So I had to give him 20p. That was my first recollection of entrepreneurial. And I suppose what I took from this was that some people are dishonest, and you should just avoid it, and everything's much easier that way. So then, can't remember anything eventful entrepreneurial for years and years until maybe I was 14. And I was on an IRC channel. That's like Facebook chat, or an open Slack channel for younger people, where you can chat online. And suddenly there was a big commotion because MP3 was suddenly available, and you could download a song, and it was only 5 megabytes. And I thought that was the most stupid thing ever. Like, nobody's going to spend 45 minutes downloading one song. But then I was chatting about it with like my friends at school, and he said, oh, so you can get songs from the internet? I said, yeah. But it takes 45 minutes, and no one's going to do that. But then speed of modems went from like 44 to 56 kilobytes a second, and it only took 20 minutes. And he told his brother, and his brother gave me a list of songs. I said, hey, can you put them on a CD? I'll give you a tenner. It's like, okay, sure. So then I went home, spent a couple of days downloading these various songs, put them on a CD for him, and then had that CD in class. And someone saw it, and he said, oh, they're really good songs. And I didn't know anything about music at the time. So I was like, oh, okay, are they? I've never heard of the band. I think it was U2. He said, oh, can I have a copy of that CD? I'll give you a tenner. I was like, oh, okay, sure, why not? So I did that. Then he said, if I choose my own songs, like I have all these CDs, but they're all on like 20 different CDs. Can you just put them on one CD for me? So I said, yeah, sure, okay. And gave me a tenner. So that evolved to having a thick, like 30 sheets of paper with like size 8 fonts with all the different songs listed that I downloaded and handed around the class, and people would like take a piece of paper and write down their list of songs, and then give me their order, and then the next day I bring them in the CD with their like bespoke compilation. So that was one of the earlier things I remember being related to entrepreneurship. And then one day I was in class, I think it was science class, at 3 o'clock, and the teacher comes over to me and says, what's this? And puts his finger on the list of songs. And I was like, oh, it's just the songs I make CDs for people. And he's like, oh, right. And then he took it off and he said, come see me at the end of class. So I was kind of like petrified 30 minutes. I think I was going to make it all the way to the top, to the headmaster, and he had a lot of trouble. Anyway, at the end of class, I went up to him and he says, could you get 10 or 11 songs on a CD? I was like, no, 10's safe for 11. So he gave me his list of songs and made another sale. So that was how I spent my earlier years in school. And then as I went into college, I learned a little bit about programming and software. There was a 1-week course where I learned as much as I did in the rest of the whole 4 years in terms of writing software. I learned how to use some Perl to make a dynamic web page, which meant I could change the page based on what somebody had done, which was big at the time for me, and I could use a database, which meant I could suddenly store orders for customers, and then when they came back, I'd be able to say, oh, you're this person, and you placed this order. So I was learning that at the time, and I was also playing some online poker. And in the poker community, it's very important to know who you're playing against, because different people have very different playing habits. Some people might not play a hand in an hour, and then if they place a raise, they've got a really good hand. Other people will raise every single round. And if you sit down at the table and you don't know who's who, then you're at a massive disadvantage. But if you sit down at the table, this person hasn't raised in 40 minutes, and this person has raised 30 times in 40 minutes, you can instantly tell there's a very big difference in their profile. So I built a little program which would let you record what happened on different poker games, which poker players could use to, they just open up like 10 tables and record what's happening, and then when they sat down, they could input that data into a program that would tell them what each person was like. So I just did it for fun. I put up a website and said, here, you can buy this program, it does this. And then I went on holidays. And then 2 days later, I checked my email, and there was a really angry email saying, hey, I paid you 2 days ago, but nothing. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know anyone knew about the website. And I was really surprised that somebody actually went to an order and placed a website.
Incredible.
Placed an order on a website. And that really changed things. I was like, oh, somebody sent me money for something, and all I have to do is send them an email with a serial or with a license key, and you can use it. So that really changed things. So then for the next year or so, I was always check my email every couple of hours. Then when I got an order, I sent it through. And then at some point, one of the players said, this is great, I can do this now, but I have to spend an hour opening up all these tables and recording the hands. Can you not just do that for me and sell me the hands, and I'll pay you twice as much? So I was like, okay, sure. So I realized that what I had built was what I thought all these people wanted, but what they really wanted was the data. They didn't want the tools to get the data. So things changed a little bit there. I started recording all these hands, and then slowly learning with what I learned in college about databases, putting them in a database, and then I get an order in, and then I go and look at the email, see what they wanted, and pull out all the hands and send them a zip file of hands. That was all great, but had to check my email every couple of hours for a year. It was a bit of a pain. So in the end, I managed to have a system where a customer would place the order, and it would automatically pull the hands from the database and then send them an email. So I set that up, and I created a new website saying it's all automatic, it'll happen, and posted it on a couple of poker forums. And then I went, at this point I went to work. I was a junior software developer in a company, and at lunchtime I got an email saying someone had paid like €300, something huge, for some hands. I was like, well, okay. And I was like, oh, I better go and deal with it. And I saw the system actually picked it up and sent them my hands, and I didn't have to do anything at all. And that really kind of changed my perception. For the first time, it was something, I built something, and it was giving people value, and I could just sit back and it would work itself. And all the time I'd spent trying to, or manually compiling these orders, I can now spend posting on some poker forums and marketing it. So that really opened my eyes to what was possible online.
Incredible to see your journey from the school all the way through to where you are today. So really interesting. And again, you built out your poker app. Originally, you thought people wanted a solution, and then actually customers come and educate you and show you that they actually want the data, wanted even more, which is incredible. Good journey of iterations towards the final product. So I guess you've stopped selling the poker app now.
Yeah. The US market disappeared, and I moved on.
So very good. And obviously your current business, you wouldn't mind telling us how you come up with the idea and what your current app does?
Sure. So again, that started as something very different to what it is today. Initially, I it came about from purely selfish reasons. I was trying to order food online myself, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, using one of the big portals, and I was just really frustrated with the experience. I'd signed up the week before and placed an order for a takeaway, and I was doing the same this Friday, and I remembered that I needed to reset my password. It was a real pain. I had to wait for the email to come through, and then although I paid with my credit card the week before, I had to enter my card details again, and it took like 7 or 8 minutes to place the order, and it was just a real pain. And then the same evening, I ordered a taxi with Halo, which was later replaced with my taxi. But at the time, it was a brilliant app, and like the two had a taxi order, and there's such a stark contrast between the difficulty of ordering the food online and what is possible if you take advantage of the features of the modern smartphone. And I remembered ordering food online 3 or 4 years before that, and the experience hadn't really changed at all. It seemed like there was no progression, and this was like a huge company providing the software. I just thought over the years, like, nothing is getting better, and it just really annoyed me that it could be so much better. So initially I set out to create a portal which would list all the takeaways in the country, and people could place an order, but with the focus on user experience. So I spent a long time thinking about what is the minimum amount of taps between opening the app and placing an order. So like, thought about things like, should you ask where the customer is first, or show them the restaurants, and realize that if you don't know where they are, then you're going to be showing them the wrong restaurants. And if you know exactly where they are, not only can you show them the correct restaurants, but you can show them the exact delivery charge, because restaurants will charge more if you're further away. You don't need to show them a big list saying, if you're here, this is one charge, if you're here, there's another charge. And also, if there's a chain of restaurants, they have delivery zones which are kind of near you. You don't need to work out which store to order from. Like, I don't know how many times I'd place an order with a store, and then I get a phone call saying, hey, you're in you're near this store. We're like a tiny bit further away from you, so you have to, we cancelled the order, go call the other store, place an order. That was just pretty annoying. But because we knew the exact location of the customer, the exact location of the stores and their delivery zones, we can work all that out for them. And then other things like well, typically you would register with an email address at the time, but every delivery driver needs your mobile phone number to call you to see if you're there. So they were always asking for an address and your phone number, but you don't need, or your email address and phone number, but clearly you don't need the email address to deliver food. So we just used the mobile phone number as the login process, and that's one more thing on that you don't need to enter, place an order. So in the end, we ended up with an app which a new customer could come along and register and place an order in under 20 seconds. And it was like just so different from the experience of the other apps that are out there. So we built that, and then my brother James got involved, and he started going around to all the restaurants in Dublin and asking them, trying to sign them up to this app. And they really educated us. They all pretty much told us that they did not want another aggregator. They told us about all the problems that they had with food portals, which I had no idea about. They told us that they felt like they were sending their customers to a place that listed all of their competitors, and there's a good chance that they'd lose that order altogether. And one of their competitors might be paying extra to be listed at the top, or they might have a discount and they'd lose that order. But if they did get the order, they were being charged 13% plus card fees on every single order, which was maybe half their margins. So a huge amount going away, and they were sending their customers to this place. And on top of the fees, they couldn't send emails, they couldn't do push notifications. It wasn't their logo on their customers' phones, it was some other portal's logo. So I didn't know about this at all, and we've gone and built this app, but they said what they really wanted was their own branded app with their own brands, their own website, so people could come to their website. They would have a much closer relationship with the customer, and they could have their own offers and their own loyalty systems there. So after having spoken to 20 or 30 restaurants, and them coming back with the same story, we pivoted and built I decided to build a platform that would make it as easy as possible for these restaurants to get set up online. We realized, going through the difficulty of building an app, how impossible it is for this more medium or even reasonably large takeaway chain to build their own technology to enable this. So we quickly changed that, and then I think maybe 3 years ago we launched it in Dublin, and it was reasonably well received. That we signed up maybe over 1,000 stores now across Ireland and Europe, and it was interesting to see how what we thought was what people wanted was completely different from what actually turned out to be useful.
Amazing. And I've been involved in projects where we have done the exact same. You read the market, you make assumptions, you do your research, and actually then when you go and launch the product, you find that you have to pivot and go a different direction. But it's brilliant to hear, and also very interesting. I would see the takeaway apps a couple of years ago, they disrupted the market, and now actually you're disrupting the disruptors. So incredible to see how it's going full circle. So very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the portals gained so much business so quickly, and there was a massive shift from offline to online. People suddenly wanted to be able to order with their smartphones, and portals were the only option, and they were really a really easy option for the takeaways and restaurants. But they just had to put a printer in their store and put some stickers up on their windows and tell their customers, here, you can go order online now. And that's exactly what all the consumers wanted. They wanted to order online, so they all, in their droves, went there. And then the portals would come to restaurants saying, hey, if you sign up with us, we'll bring you business. But in reality, I think no portal came along with a big load of customers to bring to our takeaways. They siphoned them off and funneled them through their own websites and then sold them back effectively to the restaurants. But yeah, they definitely solved a major problem at the time for the consumers. But I think things, had there been the white label technology that was good at the time, the world would look very differently at the moment. The restaurants would have a much more direct relationship with their customers.
Exactly, and we all know it's dangerous handing over all your clients to a third party or interacting with such a relationship, because actually you lose the relationship with them. And I understand the fear points of the takeaway owners. So you're opening your customers up to your competition. And I guess that's one of the key advantages of the solution you've brought to the market. Then is that takeaway owners now have a white label option. They don't have to use this the portals or the aggregators.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've seen maybe 30 of our clients leave the aggregators in the last year, and they're realizing that their customers, they want to order from them. They have the brands, the restaurants, and the customer wants their food, and as long as they can order it in a nice and easy way, they will. So if they find that if they leave a portal, that the customer will, they'll hop onto Google and type in the restaurant's name and they'll come and order directly from them.
No, I'm thinking as well, it's incredible. Your solution, you're actually giving back. You're giving the brands, the restaurant owners, the restaurants, an opportunity to actually focus on the brand and back to brand marketing, which is incredible. You're giving them back that power to control their online ordering activity through the app, which is incredible, because they've actually lost that. The websites weren't that important. The online presence wasn't that important because they'd used the aggregators. But now actually you've reversed that for the customers you have, which is really interesting. Actually, really interesting how that's going to work out. And what do you think then? Obviously, you're growing your team, and not only are customers buying into your vision, but investors and I guess there's a lot of buzz around your company at the moment. We've noticed that online as well. So, what's the future hold for your app as you as you build out your company? What do you think the market, even in the niche that you're working on, do you think this will continue, that restaurant owners will want to actually manage their brand and own their company online?
Absolutely. I think the restaurant's brand is key for them. I mean, what's happened with the food portals at the moment is has been damaging to a small amount with takeaways, but there are a new breed of portals coming along who also do the last mile delivery. So, for example, Deliveroo, they both control the ordering channel and they control the drivers for the takeaways, the restaurants. So, I mean, that's obviously dangerous for the takeaways. But not only that, they are starting to control the kitchens. So they have shared kitchens where they say, hey, you have this store, you're doing most of your orders online, it costs you a whole load to have your own kitchen. Come to our kitchen and make the food there. Sounds great. So you've lost your drivers, you've lost your ordering channel. Now your premises is controlled by the same or one company. And now Deliveroo are creating their own brands where they are selling food made in their kitchens under their own brand. And when all those things are gone, there's not too much space left for the restaurants who used to have a business. And I think only last week in Japan, Deliveroo created their first physical outlet where you can come in and order food from their own kitchens and their own brand. So if you just think out a year or two, you can see very clearly where it looks like it's going. So that's a very dangerous thing. And it's, the restaurants keeping control of their brands is it's hugely important. That is what the customers are buying. They want to know that they're getting there's a big, huge difference in perception between two different types of Indian. You have a very cheap one, which nobody wants, and a very one that's really well marketed and everybody knows, and that's what gets the customers. And when the brands are given away and you lose control of it, then you are losing control of the business altogether.
Incredible when you explain that. So as a consumer who uses these apps probably too often, but I'm thinking of the similarities with Amazon and what's happened in retail. Everyone piled in over the years to Amazon. You had to be their biggest shop in the world, and they obviously introduced their own brand as well. And we just look at the high streets, what's happening, because it's very visible, all these big brands and thousands of jobs and premises being closed. But obviously Amazon and these traditional businesses haven't adopted to online opportunities. So it's amazing.
It's really similar. And it's when you look at what's happening, when you look at these food portals saying, here, put this printer in, let's put our stickers up in your windows. I mean, it's similar to H&M putting Amazon stickers up and saying, hey, if you want to order online, head off to Amazon and just find us there. And you might find their products there, but probably you'll find somebody else's and order elsewhere. And no one would ever do that. That would be completely crazy when you think about it. But that is what happens in the food space. Amazing.
Well, I think I read a story that Toys R Us actually originally decided to put all their products, not to engage in online strategy, they put all their products onto Amazon to sell it through this new portal years and years and years ago, and then obviously realized that maybe we should be doing the online thing as well, and came in and were very strong actually then towards the end of it. But I think last year Toys R Us had a turnover of 13 billion, and this year they have a turnover of 0 because obviously they're gone. So they did actually do that. They directed their customers to Amazon, and Amazon must have thought it was Christmas. That was it. Give them everything. Incredible.
Yeah, lessons to be learned there.
Amazing. So it's very clear throughout your life you've had the entrepreneurial bug, which is incredible in all your journeys, and I'm sure there's more journeys that you could tell us about as well. But how do people, even yourself, how do people become motivated to take risks as an entrepreneur? Or have you any view or thoughts on that?
It's a tricky one.
What inspired you? You're a risk taker. I guess all entrepreneurs are.
I think the risk aspect is really played up more. Like I don't see myself as taking many risks at all. Maybe I just de-risk it as I went along. So, for example, when I started my first business when I was in college, there was no risk there at all. I just did it as well. And then I got a job while I was trying to do this on the side. And I mean, if you have a 9-to-5 job, and you don't have a family that you need to take care of in the evening, then there's a huge amount of time. That's only 8 out of 16 hours. Okay, maybe you'll sleep for 8. So you've another 8 hours where you can spend building an online business. And the beauty of online is you can do it from home. You don't need to go traveling to a different country or anything. You can do your 9-to-5 and then start working on something else. And there's very little risk there. So I think in general, if you're interested in doing a venture, I would try and de-risk it as much as possible.
I was going to say, amazing. Again, your whole mindset is, so I would talk to people who have a business idea and have something that they want to try out, but they're afraid to take the first step. They're going, oh my, I can't do it. Well, what if, the classic what if. Your mindset is totally different. You're thinking of, it's very straightforward. Just do it, basically. Be practical and work around it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't recommend that somebody just throw away their job and do something completely new, as they have no idea if it works. I don't think, in a lot of cases, that wouldn't be necessary. You can keep the job and try it out, make a minimum viable product, or even don't build anything and try and sell it and say, here, we have this, or we're going to have this. Will you buy it? Get some letters of intent, and then you'll at least feel out and how likely it is to work. And like, if you can also de-risk things by just reducing your expenses. I mean, if you live in a 3-bed apartment on your own, why not rent out 2 rooms, and then you can quit work, just eat very little, and you can. If you spend very little, then you have a huge amount of runway with very little income, if you can do it. So that's the approach I took. I had a job while I was starting these things. Only when they started working did I quit work to do it full time. So I've no experience diving in and taking a huge risk. I've always just moved things slowly, and I suppose that is similar in how we built Flipdish. We at the beginning we didn't know if it would work at all, so we just built an iOS app, and we had just an iOS app. We had no Android, we had no web, and we were out selling that to takeaways, and they were interested. And so only after we saw that was working did we say, okay, it looks like it might be working. Let's go and spend another lump of money and build the Android version. And then now we have the full mobile thing, and then brought that, and that was still working. Only after that did we go and take on more expense and build the web ordering side of things. Then things progressed like that. And it was at the start, it was just myself and my brother. So there was no salaries being paid out to us. So we were cheap. We didn't say, okay, let's sell the house, build out a full platform, hire a sales team, and try something completely new, which we don't know if it'll work at all or not.
Very good. Brilliant advice. In your business career, you mentioned today even just 2 examples of where you took a product to the market and it wasn't exactly what the market was looking for. And you created or tweaked or pivoted on the back of that. What advice would you have if any entrepreneurs have a product and they're bringing it to the market, but the market isn't receptive, it's not working, they're struggling to prove their ideas are valid? Have you any thoughts on that?
Well, I think I'd look at it in 2 parts. If you have an idea and people are saying it's not going to work, definitely take that with a pinch of salt. You won't know until, well, in a lot of cases, you won't know until you try it. And with a lot of products, timing is key. Had we tried to do what we're doing 10 years ago, I don't think it would have worked. And if we tried to do what we're doing 10 years from now, we'd be in a very crowded marketplace. So you have to look at where the market is at the time you're going to be launching it, which might be a year or two away. So you might be building for the future. And it's not necessarily a bad idea, it just might be the wrong time. But if you haven't built it and people are saying it won't work, I wouldn't necessarily listen to that. You try and understand why they're saying it and understands that if their reasons are valid or not. Like for Flipdish, when we were out looking for money in the very early days, we were shot down by 20 plus different investors. Like there was nobody thought it would work. They're like, oh no, that's ship sales. Like the portals, like they've done this for years. There's no market there. And it was like, no, but they have this. There are all these problems with us, and all these restaurants want it. They're like, no, there's portals. So like had we listened to that, like we would have gone nowhere. But we thought that, we knew we'd been out there, we'd seen that there was an opportunity, and that the restaurants needed help in that respect. So we just stuck with it. So if I wouldn't necessarily listen to people saying it's not going to work, especially when you understand the reasons why they're saying it and disagree with them. Then if you build something and you're trying to sell it and you're not getting any traction, then maybe what you've built doesn't work. Maybe you should just say, okay, well, like it's not working. Why? You can't sell umbrellas in a hot country. It's just not right. Something's wrong. Maybe it's the timing. Maybe it's the region you're selling it in, or maybe it's just you're not solving a pain for people. It seems that from time to time you come across somebody trying to build something that solves a problem that is a very small problem for a very small number of people, and that generally doesn't turn into a big business. I think people are trying to focus on things that are a very big pain point for a small number of people, or something that's not as painful but reasonably painful for a huge number of people. And if you have one of those two things going on, then more than likely it could work. It's just a matter of execution.
Jason, thank you for the advice. Brilliant as ever. Dublin, Ireland is a hotbed of tech companies and tech entrepreneurs at the moment. Is there still loads of opportunities, or is there advantages, disadvantages of having a tech business in Ireland, do you think?
I think there are definitely advantages and disadvantages. So in Dublin itself, I think there's huge advantages, and there are a lot of people from different countries around Europe. So for us today, that's really useful because we're expanding into different European countries, and we need people with the language skills for them. And Dublin's a great place for that. It's one of the few English-speaking European countries, and which opens up the US, which is nice. Speak English there, but there's lots of Spanish, German, Dutch, French speakers here, so you can have your pick. So that's great. Obviously, the property prices in Dublin makes things more expensive than they could be, but that's. I don't think you can have it both ways. You can't have a big community of tech and low property prices. We have it so much better than they do over in Silicon Valley.
So Conor, no, thank you very much for your time today and educating us on what's happening in the industry and what's happening with your business, which is very exciting. Have you many businesses involved in Northern Ireland, or maybe not a lot up here at the moment?
We've quite a few. Off the top of my head, I'd say we've about 20 to 30 stores in Northern Ireland.
Incredible.
It's we have a good few stores there, and it's great because we have sales reps in the south, and it's nice and easy for them to head up and sign up in the store and just get them set up, which is great for us. It's much more difficult to get it in from Portugal or somewhere.
Brilliant. And what countries are you focusing on at the moment then for new customers?
So at the moment we have guys on the ground in Spain and in the Netherlands and in Scotland. So that gives us a bit of breath because you're good transport in Europe. So in the Netherlands can travel to Belgium, sign up store. You can go to parts of France if needed to sign up stores. The guys in Spain's huge, big market there. So we've got people scattered all around there. And we're looking actively for good people in other countries. So Germany and France, our next big markets.
Incredible, exciting. So if anyone wants to download the app or find out more about the business and business opportunities, and even if they have their own restaurants, where's the best place for them to go to do that?
So the best place is to head over to flipdish.com. That's flipdish.com. And if your restaurant's interested, or if you have a friend with a restaurant, head over there and you can just fill in your contact details, and our team will get in contact. And then usually within a week, you can be set up with your own online ordering platform and start to receive orders directly.
Incredible! Can't wait to see this roll out even more, and we'll do our bit and share the story up here for sure, and through our I guess our contact lists and web base as well. But thank you very much for taking time out to talk to us today. Really interesting with what you're doing, and I guess we're going to be hearing a lot more about you and your company over the next couple of years. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.